I want to move to another very interesting program. I'm looking forward to checking this out. It's called the Security Balancing Act. It's a web series. Is that right?
Yeah, it is. It's a monthly series.
So, in the description of the show, it says, as we realize the transformative power of the cloud, AI, and machine learning, has our culture of responsibility and ethics kept pace? How do we harness our new technological capabilities to the understanding of how to use them well? And that's fascinating to me. I don't feel like I always get to talk with guests about this kind of thing. Can we speak a bit about the ethics and responsibility of these new technologies? Like, what are some of the issues that are being blown past at the moment by organizations in a rush to implement new time-saving tech?
Yeah, so this is such a big topic, but
Yeah,
I was thinking
I know.
about.
I hate that we're kicking into it this late in the show, but can we do a little quickie version?
Yeah, we can. And let me to do that. Let me focus on one area
Sure.
specifically. Let's take a look at ML and AI. And
Okay.
I am a huge fan of machine learning and artificial intelligence and what it can bring technologically. But there are some serious ethical concerns that we have to think about. It's partly because when we use a system, we very often believe it. So I get that a lot of us may see our Netflix recommendations and not always go, oh, I know I have to watch that movie. But if you put in numbers in a calculator, whatever that calculator tells you is the number, you probably believe that. You're not going to go, I'm just going to double check that and do that long division by hand, right? You're
Yeah.
like, oh,
Right.
I believe that. So now when we think about AI and ML and how it's being used, that blanket belief could be a risk ethically.
Mm.
If you think
Hmm.
about machine learning that's being used for sentencing in the
Yep.
courts, for example, and it
Hmm.
comes out and it says this offender is 80% likely to reoffend. Well, the judge is going to then say, okay, 80%, that's what the tool told me, and
Right.
they're going to base their decision on that. But what if that tool had biased data going in?
Oh yeah.
What if the data about reoffense was biased towards a particular class, right? That would be a problem ethically. So we need to think about the data we're using to train. Another example is a racist faucet, right? You would never think, how is a water faucet going to be racist?
Hmm.
But there are actually some smart faucets that were designed for the people that were doing the design. They did testing with people who had very light skin.
Hmm.
And so when you put your hand under the sensor, if you had very light skin, it reacted.
Mm.
But they never tested people with very dark skin
Hmm.
under the same sensor. So the people with very dark skin were not able to turn, because it hadn't been
Wow.
tested that way, not able to turn the faucet on. So there's an ethical problem, and we've
Yeah.
ended up with a racist water faucet. So we have to be really, really careful. And these are just a couple of examples, but what we
Yeah.
need to do, we need to think about how we're tuning and training these systems, ensuring that they're going to work for everybody that needs them to work, because it's an ethical failure if we don't. We also have to think about the threat models related to the failure modes of machine learning,
Okay.
both intentional and unintentional, in order to make sure that they're going to be safe for use. And autonomous vehicles, for example, they're designed to understand if there's a red octagon, this is a stop sign. But
Hmm.
an intentional failure mode could be if somebody spray painted over the stop sign. An unintentional failure mode would be enough snow has gathered on that stop sign
Yep.
that now that vehicle is not able to recognize it as a stop sign, and we
Okay.
know how risky that can be, right? Because now the vehicle potentially blew through the stop sign, that could be loss of life at its highest impact. There's also intentional attacker modes on ML, things like a security detection system that has been trained over time to classify malicious behavior as normal or not malicious, or looking at the leakage from the output of a system and understanding how the classification process works, and then tricking this detection system into believing that malicious software is benign. So there are a lot of different angles to look at the ethical use of machine learning and AI as there are across security. But all of these, if we get back and we think about threat modeling, building security in, building privacy in, building ethics in, then we can address them. But we tend to in tech, I do it too. We get so excited about the possibilities, we don't
Right.
always step back and think about.
New episodes of the Cyberwork podcast are available every Monday at 1 p.m. Central. And don't forget to check out our hands-on training series, Cyberwork Applied. Each week, expert Infosec instructors teach you a new cybersecurity skill and show you how that skill applies to real-world scenarios. Go to infosecinstitute.com/learn to stay up to date on all things cyberwork.